With this video, I'm going to try to clarify this author's purpose infographic. I know that it looks pretty complicated, but the key thing that we want to get to here is understanding why the author wrote something. If we're going to understand why the author wrote something, then we need to keep in mind that the author is an actual person with thoughts that they're trying to convey to the reader. So the author might be opinionated, and the author might be biased in some ways. So we're looking to figure out how we can get closer and closer to what this author actually thinks. There's a few ways to do that. When we look at a text, we look really big picture, and we're looking just at the generic purpose of the whole article. We can call those articles persuasive, informative, or entertaining articles. The way we would say that would just be the author wrote this article to persuade the reader, or the author wrote this article to inform or entertain the reader, and we'd be done there. So that's the overall look at author's purpose. And if we can get here, that's good, because that's the first step to getting deeper and deeper into the details. The next thing that we would look at is a more descriptive explanation of the author's point. So, okay, let's say we know that the author is trying to persuade, but why is he or she including certain details? And the answer to that will always be some stems like this. They'll always be the author wrote this to show the reader how astronauts got to space. So this might be an informative article, and the reason that the author wants to inform us is because he or she wants to show us how astronauts got to space. You see how we got a little bit more specific from here to here. The next step in kind of narrowing down our focus on the author's purpose is to look at text features. So we're going to look at why the author organized his or her text a certain way, and why he or she included things like pictures, statistics, subheadings, stories, paragraphs, poems, things like that. We have now gone past the kind of nitty-gritty, or past the overall purpose, and kind of into this nitty-gritty, well, why is this picture here? Why is this subtitle here? That is much more specific here than we were here. So as we go down this infographic, we get more and more specific about the author's actual point. Finally, we can look at the smallest details past the text features, at the types of details that the author uses. If an author is writing an article, do they include quotes, facts, research, figurative language? All of these examples have their own reasons for being there, their own purpose for being there. So when we look this closely, the way we describe the author's purpose is not as generic as persuade, inform, entertain. We could explain that an author included a fact to show the reader that an expert weighed in on the conversation, or some figurative language to show the reader what the field looked like on that summer day. You know, these very specific details are sometimes going to be different than the overall purpose of the text, but it just depends how closely we look at the text as we're trying to understand why the author is including the details in the text features and the article itself as a whole, as they do. The biggest thing you should take away from this infographic is that it's a scale of kind of zooming in as you go further and further right. Zooming in. Get it? Kind of a pun for our life right now. We're zooming in on the types of details that you're looking at in order to get to the purpose behind those details. And that's how we read this infographic.